Hey guys, hope everyone is doing okay. So today I didn't want to make this a super long video, but I did want to document this because unfortunately when hacks passed, earlier on, it was a really sad time for a lot of people in the fighting game community just with how the whole situation happened, and I have tried to cover a lot of the situations surrounding it as fairly as possible because I really don't like bullying. Now don't get me wrong, I argue with people online, people don't get on, but I don't encourage dogpiling and I don't encourage bullying. I've never encouraged bullying. If I wanted to go after somebody, I would go after them on my own. But what I see from a lot of people in this example, the Smash community, is dogpiling and making people feel kind of shit about things. Now in this instance, I kind of wanted to document this because I did actually speak to Jason, and his response was a little bit worrying, but maybe I'm reading too much into it. And I did go onto his Twitter and I had a read of what was going on in there. The reason I wanted to document this is that sometimes people put signs out there, and again, Jason's a member of the fighting game community of Smash Brothers, so I do think it's appropriate for me to talk about this. Sometimes people put signs out there that they're not doing well mentally, and with how fast the internet is and how quickly things move on, we live in the TikTok generation where it's just very quick content, you move on to the next, and we see situations all the time where people either fall under really serious circumstances or they pass away and people are upset for a time and they move on. And I don't really blame people for that. The world is very fast. We live in a fast-paced society, especially here in London. Things are just, it's like that. I know for a lot of you around the world it's like that as well, but having a YouTube channel means that you can document things and things are on the internet forever. And whilst Jason's tweets are going to be on Twitter forever, you can always go back and look at them even if he deletes them. It's good to have these in multiple places just in case there is something looming, and so that people can take a look at it and really realize that maybe there's someone in our community that isn't doing too well mentally that we should rally around, or at least bring some attention to before the worst should happen. Now, I'm not saying that Mew2King is going to do something crazy to himself, but again, I'm not necessarily friends with him. We know each other now. We've spoken briefly. Like I said, I spoke to him very briefly today and tried to advise him from doing anything that I thought might be damaging to himself. But I want to go over his tweets here with you guys just so you can see, and if you're a fan of Mew2King, maybe go over to his page and give him some words of encouragement, because honestly, when I read these, I was a bit like, is bro okay? Like, we don't need another situation where another player is doing something to themselves that they shouldn't be. And so that's what we're going to go over today. So Jason entered the tournament recently and he did very well in it. So he posted his saying he got 7th and he had fun in the tournament. Drinking helped the nerves initially, but I overdid it because I think I don't care about getting hit or anything, just think everything's funny. But this was good data for knowing myself. One of those big drinks next time might be the best balance. I don't know, still experimenting. Now, first of all, drinking to get over nerves is not a good idea. Whoever told Jason that, or if you heard this online, or if he just came out of that himself, Jason, if you are watching this, that is not a good idea. That's a terrible idea to overcome nerves. Now, it's going to be different per person, but I know that way is going to be bad for every person. It might initially get you through something, but it's going to start a spiral of bad habits. And if you're already having dark thoughts, I don't think drinking is the way to go about it. Now, I know I've been criticized multiple times for saying, Michael, your go-to every time is the gym. It's the only thing that I know. It's the only thing that I know that makes me feel better when I'm feeling down. I know that if I go to the gym, or if I go to like a martial arts studio when I used to do jiu-jitsu, I would feel better about myself. I'm not going to advise Jason of that because I've heard multiple people say it doesn't work for everyone, so fine. But drinking definitely doesn't help. He then said, me, Far, and the guy I played made a triangle. I noticed I 6-0'd Far, but Far beat him, but he beat me. We are a Triforce, a triangle, but am I courage, wisdom, or power? I haven't gym recently, so I'm not power. I must be courage or wisdom. Go back to the gym, mate. Sorry, I know I wasn't meant to advise that, but go back to the gym. I just feel so unmotivated with life at this point. In all honesty, dark thoughts get worse every year, and it massively affects anything I try to think about or do, to degrees you guys probably wouldn't really understand. I can't turn it off or escape it as long as I have internet. Now, we're going to talk about a little bit of like the bullying that goes on Reddit, although in this instance there wasn't too much that I could see. But just with regards to this tweet here, if this guy's having dark thoughts, if you're friends with him by, even if you're long distance friends, just reach out to him and talk to him, because again, we don't want that situation to occur ever again with somebody else. When you say that you're having dark thoughts that get worse every year, my mind goes to one place. Now, I've had thoughts, like negative thoughts. I can't say I've ever had dark thoughts. And I told Jason this today. I've never suffered with depression. I don't really even, I've never really suffered with anxiety. I've gotten anxious before, but I've never had like an anxiety attack or like really dealt with anxiety long term. I don't have any mental health issues, so me speaking on this might seem a bit out of touch. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not going to sit and pretend. All I'm saying and all I'm trying to do is bring some awareness to this, because there are too many times, and I can't cover every situation, where I see players that are saying that they need help or something is going on and no one's listening to them. Now, I know the common response might be, well, get off the games, go do something else. And that would have been my response a long time ago. It would have. But I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. And it's easy to tell me to get off the game and go do something else, because I can do a million other things. That's why I've been away from YouTube for a couple of days. I've been busy doing other things. Some people only have games in their life, and telling them to get off a game when that's all they've got in their life is all well and good. And you might say, well, there's real problems around the world. And that's true, but everybody's fighting their own battles. And if you're going to talk to somebody, I think that you should try and at least meet them on their level and try to understand where they're coming from. So I'm not going to sit here and demean anyone that only has video games in their life. Maybe you're a full-time streamer or YouTuber, maybe it's not going your way, you're not making ends meet. I'm not going to sit here and demean you and say go do something else. I've had the privilege of speaking to so many people, hundreds of people, since this channel picked up steam, whether it's on Discord, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on the streams. So I've got to understand and get a deeper look into people's mentalities. And I can say, I was very pompous before in saying, just get off the fucking game, bro. There's people dying all over the world. What are you complaining about? But again, some people don't have that perspective and they're fighting their own battles. And if they've already gotten to the point where they're having dark thoughts, then there's no point in telling them, well, just do this easy thing, because it's easy for us. It might not necessarily be easy for them. These are things I've always struggled with, but it's never been to this degree of badness as this year. And that stuff is honestly on my mind all the time. I think about it in free time, bracket matches, and often randomly. If it was impossible to just turn off to try to be happy. So again, I don't want to like just make up a narrative, because he's not saying exactly what it is, although I feel like all of us can get an inkling on what he's talking about here. Again, I don't want to make any assumptions, but whatever this is not good. He's saying it's dark, he's saying it's negative, he's saying it's bad, and he's saying he can't turn it off. It feels impossible to walk away from. So again, this video's purpose is to document this, because what happened earlier this year was one of the most tragic situations that we've ever seen in the fighting game community, and it didn't need to happen. And so having this here, in my opinion, is important. I've always told people that the video games are fun, and I know that we get into it on Twitter and everybody is yapping at each other and getting annoyed at each other's characters, especially in the Tekken scene right now. But when it comes down to serious things, I think the people are more important than the games and the squabbling that goes on over there. So regardless of what people think about me, of which, it's fine, it's whatever, I think we can all agree that these things probably deserve more attention. And for people to shine a light on them, just so someone doesn't end up doing something stupid later down the line. In a bracket match, I'm thinking of these things more often than what my opponent is doing, and the moment it happens, my hands are also won't let me short hop or do anything I normally can do easily. My brain has been poisoned compared to years prior, and it feels very depressing. So he's playing the game and he essentially can't do like basic functions because he's I guess like paralyzed by this feeling. Again, I don't know what the feeling is. I've never had feelings like this before. I'm a pretty upbeat, optimistic person. I know that I'm very chilled out and calm, but that again that's just in my nature. I won't go into like my personal reasons as to why, but I've never felt these feelings before, so I can't relate. But I'm not stupid either. Like I know where these things lead, and even if it isn't the worst possible scenario, which God forbid it was, it's still not good. I also strongly dislike so many people at this point, and they feel same to me, online at least. Seems they love me in real life strangely, since they tell me that often, so I feel like what's the point anymore? Should find a community that likes me more probably. Now that would be a start. He's already identified that the Melee community doesn't like him. Now, Mew2King, Jason, yeah, the Melee community, not all of them. I don't want to group everyone together because everyone's different. I've spoken to multiple people in private, but there's a lot of them that are unhinged, they're mad, and they don't even know why they dislike you. And even if they had a reason for disliking you, every single reason that I've seen so far has been pretty stupid. So yeah, leaving your community might do you some good. No, I'm not going to lie to you. There's problems everywhere you go. There's nowhere near the level of problems that you get in the Melee community. I think everyone can agree on that. But there's problems everywhere you go. So I would say if you're struggling mentally, maybe taking a step back from gaming and working on yourself and then coming back to it would be good. Especially if you're doing this as a career. Now, I'm not trying to like give advice to somebody that's like legendary in their own scene, even though I know I am. But if you can fix your mental and you can make yourself strong, then when you come back, you're not really going to have any hiccups, because a lot of the problems that you're facing will probably just roll off your chest. And yes, people are going to say stuff to you online. People say all kinds of stupid shit online. They yap away on Twitter, and then when it comes down to actually seeing them in person or even talking to them on a live stream, their demeanor changes completely. So that is par for the course. That happens to everybody. If you're known online, that's just the way it goes. I've learned to ignore it. I mean, I learned to ignore it long before I even got onto YouTube. But you have to let these things roll off your chest. If you know and you've seen people that are talking shit to you online, then they're cool with you in person. If they come up to you in person, just shake their hand and keep it moving. Or if they've done something really despicable, ignore them. If they put their hand out, just walk past them. You're better off not wasting your time with these people, because like I said, I don't get anywhere near the level of hate you do. But I've had people talk shit to me on Twitter, and then I see them at Comic-Con and they're like, oh, hey Mike, I watch your videos. And I'm like, wasn't you just like calling me every name under the sun? They're like, oh, it's a joke. That's just what Twitter's like, bro. That's unfortunately what it's like. Over here on YouTube, I don't know about Twitch, but the YouTube comment section tends to be more pleasant. You go over to Twitter and I guarantee you could open up any thread. I was looking at a thread of Superman today, and somebody asked a basic question about Zack Snyder's Superman, and they got attacked like crazy. And I was like, what? Why did you... Anyway, it doesn't matter. That's just how Twitter is. In my younger, less poisoned years, I wouldn't have these issues mentally in bracket or just random times in life. My mental issues, I believe, aren't fixable and get progressively worse as the years have went on. It's way too important / impactful with no real hope / solution I can see. Now, this was the tweet that made me want to make this video. Now, I know for a lot of you, you might have already clicked off the video, but again, I've always said that the people, whether I know you or not, or whether I like you or not, are more important, their lives are more important than some stupid game. And when I read him say that there's no hope, that does not sound like it's got a happy ending to me, okay? And I'm not talking about a Thai massage parlor. I'm talking about this has got an unhappy ending and shit's gonna go sideways. And if there are friends of Jason out there that have read this and just glazed over it and gone about the day, I would say get in contact with this guy and try to talk some sense into him, okay? Melee has already destroyed one life. It's probably going to destroy more down the line. But if there's any way that we can counter these sort of things from happening, then we should do them. Nobody is beyond repair, I think. I don't want to say that absolutely, but I'd say most people can be repaired, and there usually is a way out of things. I don't know what Mew2King's personal situation is, whether that's physically, emotionally, or financially, but having good people around you always makes situations better, in my opinion. Was feeling okay, getting over hangover, until I checked online and realized everyone hates me for literally any reason. Feel worse than before this weekend started now. Nobody even says anything in person for their thoughts. They just talk shit online for clout. Hate everyone. Like I said, dude, like you do one little thing and they will drag you online. This is what people on Twitter do, and they love it. They love dragging people. They don't think about the person behind the monitor, but what you need to remember is that I'm sure you probably have a couple of people that are close to you in your personal life. Those are the ones that you should focus on. Those people and the community that have supported you. Now, if you're saying everyone hates you, which, you know, obviously that's not true. I mean, I don't hate you. I know we don't really know each other, but I don't think my community hates you either. If it's your own community that hates you, then I would refer back to your previous tweet where you said that you want to walk away and find another community. Because if it's gotten to that point, then that's what I would do. If you want to stay on YouTube, that is, if you can't deal with that level of negativity. Now, again, the reasons for why they hate you, because you spoke out about hacks, because you made a racy joke with your friend, your black friend who didn't have a problem with it. These people are terminally online. They don't really have actual friends that they can bounce ideas off. So they go online, they see something, they jump on a bandwagon and they attack people. Now, someone like you, unfortunately, this is affecting. I got attacked the other day for saying RIP Hulk Hogan. I didn't say RIP Terry Bollea. I said RIP Hulk Hogan. I made the distinction between the two. One is a character and one's a person, and we can talk about that later. I'm going to get into that later on stream for the people that had something smart to say. But they will attack you and drag you for anything. You can't let it get to you. It's just voices on the internet, and there are plenty of voices on the internet that are good. You need to focus on those, and I know that there are people that support you. You've got a massive following. It just sounds like the negative is overcoming the positive right now. Don't let the negativity online overcome the positivity. I know that sounds easier said than done given how much negativity there is on Twitter and all of these apps, but there are good people that will support you. When I've been getting dragged before, and I know I'm not comparing it to your level, you're a much bigger online personality, but when I've been dragged before, I've just focused on the people that like me. I'll talk to the people that don't like me, but I don't let them get me down. Because the minute I go like this, the minute I shut the phone down and the screen goes black, I'm back in the real world. I'm back here with my family. My friends are close by. My community is in my Discord. The people that really matter and have your best interests at heart and are going to give you constructive criticism if you did something wrong without dragging you through the mud. Those are the ones you need to pay attention to. And I would say that for anybody else. If you feel like you're getting hate left, right, and center, it might feel like that, but I guarantee you there's plenty of people around you that will support you if you will listen though. Most of you guys are fake fucks that only say things for likes and clout. Don't care about other person or giving another perspective. Many of you remind me why I left originally. At least the fan base is nice, but many old friends are not. Tired of this clout chasing bullshit. Again, I mean, not to repeat what I just said, but a lot of people will do things online at the expense of somebody that might be suffering mentally. Now, obviously, when we post videos online and we talk about people, and which I've done as well, we might be critiquing their points, or we might be critiquing their gameplay, or we might just not like each other and we're going at each other. But what Mew2King is going through right now is a dogpiling. A dogpiling from a community that doesn't want to see him competing. And again, not lumping in every single person in the community, but there's more than enough. We've seen it documented. And so he probably feels like the weight of the world is on his shoulders and everyone's trying to push him out. Push him out of something that he's been doing all his life. So yeah, they're going to do things for clout. They're going to do things for like, because to them, that means more than your well-being, your depression, whatever it is that you're going through. That's how it is. Like, I know that's how it is for me. I know at any moment everybody could turn on me because maybe it gets you 100,000 views to talk about in a very negative way and not cover it fairly. I mean, the other day I covered Corey Kenshin, and I could have made an absolutely outlandish video considering how people were dragging him, but I said no. Those messages from that girl seemed crazy. Now, being on YouTube, I know which one would have gotten me more views. To be more outlandish and to you know, make a video where I'm dragging Corey, it would have got me more engagement. I probably would have been spoken about more on Twitter. I probably would have been clipped more by his fans. You know, obviously I'm in his fan base as well. I'm just saying it would have been clipped more by his fans, and it would have probably made me more money to do that. But why do that to somebody? It's different when we're talking about a game. A game, yeah, I'll rip a game to shreds and I'll rip somebody's opinion to shreds on it as well. But the actual person, when they're dealing with something, a lot of people don't give a shit, unfortunately. We live in a click culture now, right? Everyone's looking for clout. I'm literally right here in real life and you won't say anything to me but then talk shit online and I find out later. People I used to respect or thought was cool with before. Need your internet likes though. This world and you guys have no shame. I don't really need to elaborate on that one. We all know what it is. We're not new to the internet. We know how this thing works. People will stab you in the back for a bit of ad revenue. That's how it goes. That is how it goes. They will stab you in the back for a bit of ad revenue, and I've been told multiple times, why don't you talk about this individual that you know? I don't need to. There's plenty of people that I'm friends with online that do things that I don't like. I speak to them in private. There's no need, and I'm not talking about Jason here, but like my friends that I've made in the space, you know, whoever that might be, whether you've seen them on my podcast or not. If they do something I don't like, and you see this person on my podcast, and it's not a criminal offense like I'm diddling a child, because then you're not my friend, obviously. I'm going to talk to them in private. I'm not going to drag them. Why would I do that? It's such a weird thing to do, but a lot of people do that, unfortunately. Don't do that to your friends. It's not worth it in the long run, because you can get all the likes and the clicks that you want, but at the end of the day, when you're old, your boys are going to be sitting around you, or maybe your girl, or whoever it is. That's what's really going to matter when you've actually got your family, you know, not your blood family, but the family you made, sitting around you talking about the memories and that. You want to sacrifice all that for clicks and likes. If you're going to smile in my face, pretend to be cool with me when it was convenient for you, but not have the balls to say something to my face, or at the very least a message, then zero respect for you. Tons of people I lost massive respect for after this weekend for this very reason. So I'm assuming, obviously, he went to this tournament. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. And I'm guessing people were being two-faced again, which, you know, again, is par for the course. I've had it happen to me before. People talk shit online. They see me in person. They don't say anything. Not because I think that they're scared of me or anything. It's just that people just talk shit online and then they don't want to do anything in person. Like it's not that they're scared of you. They just don't want to do something. But in person, it takes a lot of energy to start that shit. And you never know where it's going to go. So I wouldn't, at this point, I don't take it personally. Like, I had someone the other day dragging me because of a caption. And I just laughed. Like, I knew he was trying to bait me into a fight over a flipping caption. And I knew he was trying to bait me into a fight. And I just laughed at him. I said, I can't be bothered to deal with this. This is probably an 18-year-old. I've got to move on. So then we move on to Melee is Cooked, who did some documenting on what happened with Mew2King. So it says that Mew2King created a burner account on StartGG. And so I think the reason he did that is because he got a lot of blowback in saying that he wanted to re-enter tournaments or go to an invitational, and people on Reddit were not happy about it. So he created a burner account called the Ancient Dragon, and he entered this tournament called S Factor 12. So he traveled down to Mexico. Obviously, people are, oh my god, Mew2King is here. His first Melee tournament in 3 years. He wins doubles. I don't know who he was teamed up with or how doubles works, but there was Mew2King versus Javi. I don't know who Javi is. It's a 4-stock, I guess, in Mewtwo's favor. Makes top 16 without dropping a single match. Obviously, now we know he got 7th place, which is super impressive. And then it says Reddit is seething the entire time. I guess there's the match between those two, which I imagine for like long-term fans of Melee was probably like a great thing to see. Now, I've been watching Melee for a long time, on and off. Not so much anymore, just sort of like keep up with the nonsense that goes online because I prefer watching Ultimate. But that must have been cool for people to watch. Then you got the Melee messages here. So it starts at the top with Benedict, or Benedict, or I'm not sure what that says. It says, a couple legends in the MS Discord figured out that Mew2King is most likely attending Smash Factor 12. One high-seeded player is a tournament added player called the Ancient Dragon with no start.gg history. Check projected bracket in top 32 for seeding. Additionally, Mew2King is listed as teaming with Cody in doubles at the pre-local event. Definitely funny that he seeded to play Triff. I feel like that might go really rough for him. Will also be a big fake out, but I think it's Mew2King. And then legit Mew2King attending Smash Factor and not any other one, only because they unbanned hacks due to a Facebook poll. He meant to say due to a Facebook poll. Actually, Mew2King attended a random 4-entrant con tournament recently because they flew him out and housed him. Then they responded saying, well, makes sense since as they are not part of the Smash deep state. Mew2King has led such a unique life. And then Coffee says Mew2King is going to get shit on. It's just a question of who. Looking at this bracket, it seems like he's getting floated through pools. I think he will lose to Nickenwit. If he is feeling self-conscious enough to enter under a fake tag, maybe give him a little piece instead of trying to out him. Calling this outing is absurd to me. Seeding is public and people are going to want to actually know who the Anon account projected to perform better than Foxy, Smash Daddy, NMW, Eddie and Far is. That can only be so many guys. Playing under a different account is also usually a DQable offense. It wouldn't be surprising if S Factor allowed this though, since they typically don't care about anything. Playing under a different account is usually a DQable offense. Really? Why? Why? I mean, in my mind, like, it's a fighting game tournament. If you're the best, doesn't matter. Like, just go out there and fight. I don't... Anyway. Maybe that's just me. Going against the grain of a popular opinion in the Melee community hive mind isn't the same thing as not caring about anything. It's called having a different perspective. Well said. I liked when they invited hacks to an event just because they felt like it. Using an alt tag / account is usually worthy of a DQ because it is mostly used to mess with the seeding and or play in lieu of someone else. Okay, play in lieu of someone else. I guess. I don't know. I'm not a TO. I'll chime out of that one. If the Smash Factor TOs have seeded them this highly, it's very likely they're aware of who it is and thus it isn't really a problem. I'm not sure how to articulate this. I don't want Mew2King to go away. I want him to better his life, but him being at this tournament with every accommodation he gets makes me feel weird about it. I don't know. Why? Oh my lord. What did he do to make you feel weird? Well, maybe don't say anything rather than saying someone attending a tournament, major, you feel weird and given no clear reasons. I think people need to stop being so parasocial about Mew2King. It's none of our business whether he's doing things to better his life, and whether he's making good decisions or not should have no bearing in how TOs interact with him. Thank you. Some common sense. He needs a lot of accommodation and support, and the TOs for SF decided they wanted him there enough to oblige. Other TOs are valid in not wanting to do as much for him. It's as simple as that. One thing to keep in mind is SF clearly cares a lot about legacy players in a way other tournaments don't. That's also fine in my opinion. Okay. Okay, no, I agree with that. Are you confusing this tournament with the Japan non-invitational? I don't see any issue with him going to this tournament or any other open bracket. In fact, I think it's great he's trying to attend more. And then someone responds saying, this comment makes absolutely no sense respectfully. If a TO wants to go out of their way to accommodate a player of their choosing, that's on them, and they got to deal with the BS that comes with it. Smash Factor series and the Mexican scene has historically had a legacy loyalty component forever. What accommodations and what's weird about him being at a tournament? And then someone says, yeah, this, like what? And someone says, what's the Mew2King thing about? He didn't enter under his own tag. What tag did he enter under? The Ancient Dragon, apparently. He won doubles with Cody at pre under his own tag. I'm assuming the Ancient Dragon is what he's playing under in singles, since I don't see how else that tag is the 6th seed over known players, but as far as I know, he hasn't played on stream yet. Incredibly lame, can't do shit nowadays. The fact that this is even a conversation is quite hilarious to me. And then we come on to the final part of this before I wrap it up. So Chicago Melee player and former tournament organizer Full Hot Bear believes that Mew2King's should be ostracized from the Melee community because some random viewer said a dumb thing in his Twitch chat during a tournament. This is literally what TOs tried to do with Hacks. They attempted to hold Hacks responsible for the negative comments of random Twitter users in an effort to leverage his standing in the community. So much so that Hacks had to make an apology video where he begged people not to say mean things about Leffen on social media. You know how fucking ridiculous that is? Do you know how unbelievably cooked you have to be to request that of somebody? If you are not encouraging your audience and telling them to go and attack somebody or telling them to say certain things, if someone says something in your chat, how are you responsible for that? If someone asked me to put an apology out and encourage people to not do something when I had nothing to do with it, I would tell them to go and fuck themselves. What kind of nonsense is that? Now, I'm not grouping all the TOs in. This is just an isolated incident. I know there's been loads of conversations about Smash TOs. I do think you have to deal with it on an individual case-by-case basis. Otherwise, you end up messing up the entire situation. You end up diluting the well. I think that when someone does something bad, single them out. If a group does something bad, then, you know, group them together, fine, whatever. In this instance, it seems to be just this TO, which is this guy here. Apparently, that's the profile picture anyway. So, maybe that's I don't know if that's him. That's his picture. It says, not gonna post a screenshot, but the first thing I saw opening the Smash Factor chat hosted by a particular ex-top player was people wishing death on someone else. Evil, evil, evil. Hope we do not allow a person with this community to engage with the great scene at large. That is such a bitch-made thing to say. Because of what some people might have said in the chat, you want to condemn his entire community and push him out. Come on, man, grow a backbone. That is absolutely ridiculous. You can't hold him accountable for something that he didn't have control over. Unless you can get information that he was the one encouraging these people and he's put information out there or messaging that encourages people to wish death on others, then you have a case. Other than that, you are talking out of your ass and you are trying to do the exact same thing that they did before. I do not believe Hacks himself encouraged the threats or harassment against others, but whether intentional or not, when your consistent actions have consistent consequences, it's up to you to correct that or to plain stop those actions. You guys should take your own advice. Whoever wrote this, I'm assuming it's this tournament organizer. Again, I don't want to group anyone into one, but anyone that agrees with him, take your own advice. Consistent actions have consistent consequences. You guys want to behave in the exact same way in which you treated Hacks, you're going to get consistent results. Now again, I wanted to document this because I don't want to see something happen to anybody. There's people that I really don't like in the fighting game community, and I can say that and I'll say it to their faces that I can't stand them. I in no way want anybody to get to the point where they want to take their own life or harm themselves or have dark thoughts, whatever that might mean. So I wanted to put this on video and get this out there because it's on Twitter right now. Jason might end up deleting them. It might get worse, who knows. But I think as a community, whether we play Smash Brothers or Tekken or Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or Arcana Hearts, if you're one of them, man, we should rally together behind somebody that is not doing okay, and he very clearly is not doing well. I mean, he's talking about drinking to get through tournaments, so that's already a massive red flag. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. Leave your words of encouragement for Mew2King. If you're a fan of his, go over to his page, show him a little bit of love, because apparently his community or a bunch of people are cooking him right now. He said he feels that everyone hates him, so we don't want a repeat situation basically. But I'll catch you guys very soon. Take care and peace.
Keep running from the best.